Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News2. I'm Sandra Mansing. The centennial has given residents a lot to think about. The history and culture of the territory is and will be forever directly linked to Denmark. Both Virgin Islanders and Danish citizens are moving forward in our shared history in Danish archives. Releasing important information is now available. Stephanie Brown reports.
Valuable documents containing pieces of Virgin Islands history have been unavailable for a long time. After the sale of the Danish West Indies to the United States in 1917, documents were dispersed between the U.S., Denmark, and some material stayed in the territory. March 1st, 2017, the Danish National Archives opened online access to all its digitized records from the time when Denmark was a colonial power in the West Indies as well as in this territory. On this website, you can read about and get to know this part of Danish history as well as our Virgin Islands history. Organizations such as the Landmark Society operating at the Wim Museum has also treasured archives that residents can utilize, as well as they have the ability to help navigate through the newly published Danish records.
First of all, our database has a lot of information, a lot of records. The census is from 1815 up to 1911. We have a lot of church record. We have the emancipated slaves, the free coloreds, some school lists, the vaccination lists, vital statistics, and many more.
Both local residents and Danish citizens can benefit from information that is contained in these documents. One Danish citizen visiting the territory sought for a deeper understanding of his ties to the Virgin Islands.
I'm from Denmark, and my grandfather was one of the Lutheran pastors here on St. Croix. He founded the church, King's Hills Lutheran Church, in 1912. Where he was the founder, and we are here because of the 100 years jubileum.
As the territory observes the transfer centennial, Virgin Islanders have begun open dialogue in community forums, online groups, and in the education system, further exploring political status, identity, culture, and family genealogy. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Information can be found at www.virginislandshistory.org. And of course, residents in search of genealogy information or historical events can visit the Wim Museum archives on St. Croix. We'll mark your calendar Tuesday, April 11th at 5:30 p.m. Talk on Danish West Indies records. For more than 3 years, the Danish National Archives has been working to digitize a vast quantity of historic records from the Danish colonial era. On St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, and Water Island, as we just reported, and the Danish National Archives. The project includes more than 5 million digital images. Many of these records are included on UNESCO's World Heritage List. CGL, the Caribbean Genealogy Library, they will host a presentation by Danish archivist Esbon Helung and Wout Hedegaard on the records that are now available online and how to use their website for conducting research. The event is Tuesday, April 11th at 5:30 p.m. Well, many peeked out in the St. Thomas Harbor and got a glimpse of the tall ship Denmark. It sailed in on Tuesday and remains docked in Crown Bay until April 1st when she sails to St. Croix. Some lucky students have the opportunity to get on board for a tour of a lifetime. At 234 feet, it is a large training ship and international nautical ambassador for the government of Denmark. The Denmark is open for public visits for students from March 29th to the 30th from 10 to 4. Then the Denmark in Christiansted sails over to St. Croix, and that's tentative for April 1st. The ship is here for the transfer centennial. Here's more.
It's a training vessel for Danish cadets where we are training cadets for the merchant marine where they can continue either to be the deck way or the way as engineers.
We are 80 trainees and 16 crew members. And we're sailing from Lisboa in Portugal here to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and then on to Bermuda.
My duty is to learn as much as I can to be a sailor and have a much experiments to how to sail, and it's also nice to go to Caribbean islands.
And we welcome them to the Virgin Islands. Be sure to take advantage of the tours. The Copenhagen Brass Ensemble, they're visiting the Virgin Islands to participate in the Transfer Centennial activities March 31st. Now, they performed for students at the John H. Woodson Junior High School not too long ago. The group conducted a performance workshop for music and other interested students in the school's auditorium. Students were genuinely fascinated by the versatility of the orchestra, which played a variety of instrumental pieces, including a calypso tune to close out the performance. The 25-member Danish band visited the school through invitation of Woodson Music Department Chairperson Mario Thomas, whose music colleague, Dr. Eugene Doc Peterson, was instrumental in bringing the ensemble to the island as part of a cultural exchange program. The Copenhagen Brass Ensemble will perform at Island Center on March 30th and participate in the Centennial Parade on March 31st. The group is scheduled to travel to St. Thomas for a one-day trip to perform at the West Indian Company dock during the visit of the Danish ship, the Denmark, before returning to St. Croix to depart on April 7th. While in St. Croix, the band also performed at Moravian Church, a senior citizens home, the St. Croix Central High School, and they're making arrangements to perform at the St. Croix Educational Complex. Well, as we shared yesterday, 2 Danish chapters of the International Police Association, they are in the territory to attend the centennial events as well. They received tours and got a taste of VI history. Here's more.
The Vandenberg Group, over 20 officers from the IPA, the International Police Association, spent their morning at the VIPD Wilbur A. Francis Command in Frederiksted, where Police Commissioner Delroy Richards' office and Police Chief Winsbert McFarlane and Deputy Chief Mark Canero hosted their fellow Danish officers. VIPD commanders, supervisors, officers, and staff exchanged dialogue. Special Assistant to the Chief, Sergeant Jack Walton, gave them a tour of the VIPD operations, and Chief McFarlane shared cultural tokens. They enjoyed culinary delights and local drinks.
Now, coming up, there are much more events. Tonight, the governor's reception is being held at Fort Christian, and that ends around 8 p.m. Community is invited. The event began with a brief service in the Fort Christian Chapel and a reception. Now, looking ahead, March 30th is the governor's reception, Government House on St. Croix from 6 to 8 p.m. The Transfer Centennial Commission, they're sponsoring some military parades throughout the territory. St. John, of course, was held last weekend on St. Croix. It's Friday, March 31st. The parade will start from 8 a.m. from the Bassin Triangle. On St. Thomas, also Friday, March 31st. Parade begins on Veterans Drive, starts at 2 p.m. The parade route will end near the St. Thomas Legislature, where Senate President Myron Jackson and members of the 32nd Legislature, they're joining dignitaries from Denmark, the United States, Puerto Rico, BVI, and other Caribbean countries, as well as visitors and residents. They're going to witness presentations and performances. The official observance will begin on the Capitol grounds at 3 p.m. VIPD, they're advising the general public of road and parking restrictions in place for the Centennial Day Parade and Government House Luncheon that's scheduled for Friday. Government Hill, Congans will be closed to traffic between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Transfer Day, March 31st. No vehicle will be allowed to park on Government Hill. Also on Veterans Drive in the area of Lucinda Millen Home to the Cancrine Bridge, that will be closed from 1:30 p.m. No east and westbound traffic will be allowed until the completion of the parade. Lastly, Veterans Drive, Hospital Gata intersection by the police station to Fort Strata, Fire Station Street, will be closed to vehicle and pedestrian traffic until the completion of the ceremony. Meanwhile, in St. Croix, government area will be closed to traffic again from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also, some parking restrictions in place. No parking on King Street from Queen Cross Street to the Wharf area. No parking on Church Street between King and Company Streets. No parking on Strand Lane. No parking on Hospital Street between King and Company Streets. And any vehicle found parked in the restricted areas will be ticketed and or towed at the owner's expense. So be sure to keep that in mind. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers, we can see the Dow down 42, NASDAQ and S&P up 22 and 2. Coming up on News 2, more news of the day, some updates. Police have identified the teenager killed in the shootout at McDonald's in St. Thomas. Details coming up next. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Virgin Islands Police Department has revealed the name of 2 of the 3 teens involved in the deadly hostage and robbery, the incident that occurred at the McDonald's restaurant in the Lockhart Gardens shopping center on Saturday night. Juan de Dios, age 17, who was in 10th grade at the Sheldon Mali High School, was born in Santo Domingo. The surviving 18-year-old has been identified as Anselmo Joseph Feliz Ricio. He was arrested on Monday after being released from the Schneider Hospital. The VIPD has determined that it will not release the name of the 3rd suspect because he is a surviving minor. Mr. Ricio faces multiple charges, including 3rd-degree assault, grand larceny, possession of an unlicensed firearm during the commission of a crime, as well as brandishing a firearm. They said 5 to 7 hostages were held up. Count on 2 to keep you updated. Early voting for the April 8th election started today. VI Election Supervisor Carolyn Fox reported the early voting is going very well. It began at 9 a.m., continues till 6, and it continues tomorrow. And as of 5 p.m. today, she reported on St. Thomas 333 already voted and on St. John 16. It continues tomorrow 9 to 6 p.m. and then on Saturday. Absentee voting is going on St. Croix. You can find the application on the elections website. Governor Mapp held a recent press conference and spoke about collecting on delinquent property taxes. The Office of the Lieutenant Governor will now be aggressively collecting outstanding property tax. Senator Terrence Nelson shared his sentiments on revenue enhancement initiatives and the property tax enforcement.
It's not necessarily a shortfall on its own. It's being termed and deemed a shortfall basically because our spending practices have not been prudent. We're talking about taxes owed, that in the governor's recent press conference, there was a mention of some 1,900, I think 53 parcels of property who are in delinquency, who are going to be up on the auction blocks if they are not paid. I do believe in the government collecting their taxes. However, I'm concerned that some Virgin Islanders who may not be aware because they're living away, or who may be unable at this point, might lose properties to such.
Department of Public Works reminds the public of the road and lane closures that continues from April 2nd for road construction operations along Route 30, which is Moravian Highway. Periodic road and lane closures will start at the intersection of Route 30, Moravian Highway, and Route 33, Crown Mountain Road, and will end near the intersection of Emil Griffith Park. The contractor will be executing road reconstruction, road rehabilitation, traffic video detection systems, and more. Meanwhile, as we shared, hospital ground, they received a cleanup. Many agencies pulled together to target the area, including Public Works and Office of the Governor, among others. Stephanie Williams shares her observation.
There's quite a few violations that's taking place here. It appears to be illegal car shop where vehicles are being fixed. But what the biggest problem is here is that they're being fixed in the middle of the road. This road here belongs to the Virgin Islands government, and right behind me there's a whole lot of other things that's just littering the area, preferably the gut. If you notice, this gut is totally full of egress where we're approaching hurricane season, and this would definitely create a situation of an overflow of water because the water has no way of running. We're also looking at quite a few vehicles that are on the side of the road that are not registered, and they have been tagged.
That was Stephanie Williams of the St. Croix Administration Office that teamed up with the St. Thomas office for that cleanup. Well, we shared yesterday winners of the 44th St. Thomas International Regatta, which was held March 24th to 26th on St. Thomas. And UVI production students, they shared a behind-the-scenes look. Alina Belchi talks to Carol Barutha and Terry McKenna. Here's more.
My My name is Elena Belsu. I'm here today at the St. Thomas International Regatta 2017. This race spans 3 days and has over 50 boats participating. We even have 2 boats who came all the way over from Denmark from the Royal Danish Navy. We had a chance to catch up with Carol Baruther, press officer for the St. Thomas International Regatta.
And in our traditional 3-day event, we had our race to the harbor on Friday, which the winds were up and down. And then on Saturday and Sunday, racing around Pillsbury Sound, the Jameses, and we do send the boats on a variety of courses depending on what type of boat they are. But everybody's having a lot of fun, and wind and waves are out there.
Yes. I'm here today with Terry McKenna from Flight Risk. Terry, what kind of boat is Flight Risk?
Flight Risk is a Nacra 17 catamaran. It's the Olympic class boat.
Awesome. And how was it like out there today on the water?
It was challenging out there. We had a lot of swell. We were sailing offshore a little bit, around the islands, a little bit of everything.
And how have you been doing in the race so far?
We've been doing very well.
And you have a lot of experience on these kind of boats. How long have you been sailing for the St. Thomas Regatta?
I've been in the St. Thomas Regatta about 7 or 8 years now.
Awesome. Among the winners were Orion, captained by Fredo Lugo, and Flight Risk, captained by Terry McKenna. You can find the rest of the results at stthomasinternationalregatta.com.
And we'd like to say thank you to all the UVI production students, including Jay Skeet, Brandon Bouganu, Alana Belshi, Gabrielle Wilson, Kyla Joseph, and Sharina Baptiste, as well as Ogami Wilson, who's the class professor. Good job, guys. Mixed martial arts coming back to the VI. The first ever was held on St. Thomas in 2012, and the attendance has been growing ever since, according to local promoter Rigo Rodriguez. He's the man behind the MMA in Paradise 5 UFC style. This time it will be held at Sunshine Mall, Saturday, April 1st, 7 p.m. First time ever in St. Croix, presented by Paradise Fighting Championships, Cruzan versus Puerto Rico. St. Croix's Justin Smith versus Puerto Rico's Miguel Archie. Also Corey Mills of St. Croix versus Lino Dila of Puerto Rico. And there will be some female fighters as well as other surprises along the evening. Be sure to check that out. Stick around. News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.
The Atlantic continues to drag a slight frontal system or a frontal boundary here just out towards the Leeward Islands. Now earlier today that did bring a couple of showers into St. Croix. As we head throughout the rest of our time here, things should really be calming down. Now, in behind this, we do see a large area of high pressure that's going to continue to slide off towards the east. As it does so, getting into our weekend, the very calm weather we see or have been seeing will continue, but we will start to pick up our trade winds just a bit. So our dew points have since dropped, and that's going to be bringing us very nice beach weather over the next couple of days. However, we do expect those to go back up as we head into the weekend. Mainly clear skies for tonight, maybe a brief passing shower, but I really expect mostly dry weather, 73 for your low. Working our way into Thursday, well, it is sunny and beautiful weather here in St. John's, 83 degrees. If there is a shower, it's going to be more like a drizzle and very brief. St. Thomas, 83 degrees, plenty of sunshine to go around. Make sure you get outdoors, get your vitamin D at the beaches. 84 degrees into St. Croix here. We're looking at very sunny weather here. Nice weather, and we're also not seeing any marine advisories or any higher rip current risk as well. Not too big of swells out there. Waves 4 to 6 feet. Winds out the northeast right around 10 knots for the Atlantic side. And then on the Caribbean, we're looking at 3 to 5 feet and winds out the northeast 10 to 15 knots. So our waves just a touch calmer here, but our winds slightly higher. This is what we're looking at for the rest of our week. We do see a shower in spots as we head into our weekend, but Thursday and Friday, well, it's mostly just going to be sunny skies. Temperature is going to stay fairly comfortable as well. We're in those low to mid 80s, pretty standard here. As we head over the weekend, those trade winds as that area of high pressure slides east will build back in, so you'll start to see a lighter breeze. And into next week, we'll be under that standard trade wind flow with a couple of brief passing showers. Back to you.
Thanks for that. Stray shower here, there. Not too bad. Deanna Rosario of Ricardo Richards, thank you for submitting this beautiful picture. We can see maybe you were looking at the regatta over the weekend? Thank you for that. Blue skies, nice overall weather. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. That is all for now. Thank you for joining us for all the latest. I'm Sandra Gaman saying have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next time.